This is Matt Goodwin with Access Data, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the process for obtaining logical images of Android devices using MPE. Specifically, I'll be using MPE version 4.3. Before we start, it's important to remember the difference between computer forensics and mobile phone forensics. In computer forensics, hard drives are just treated as static storage devices that can be hashed out at any given point and verified with that same hash, whereas in mobile phone forensics, the mobile devices are considered dynamic systems and are constantly changing and will not hash out the same for various reasons. As long as the phone is on, applications are running and things are changing on the device. Before acquiring our Android, there are a few things that we need to take care of. One, we need to ensure that there's an SD card in the device, a blank SD card for forensic purposes in the device, so that we can use it to temporarily load files onto the SD card to help us acquire the image. We're also going to need to download and install the ADB or Android debugging drivers for the specific device in which you will be acquiring. Each device has different ADB drivers depending on the manufacturer of the device and the carrier for that service. These drivers can typically be found or provided by each carrier, such as Sprint or AT&T, off of their websites, or if they're more difficult to find, sometimes you have to browse the web to find the correct ADB driver for that device. Once the ADB drivers are installed, we need to make sure that we configure the device to the correct settings and put it in the correct mode so that it can communicate with the computer in which we're going to be running MPE. First of all, we need to go into the settings on the device itself. So in the settings menu, we will typically on an Android it's going to be under Applications. And under Applications, you'll see the Development. And under Development, it's going to be the USB debugging mode needs to be selected. The other options that may be under that menu are not relevant to the communication between the device or the handset and the computer system that you're going to be using MPE on. Once we've installed the ADB driver and our phone is in the correct mode, we can go ahead and connect the device to the computer. And we can check our settings by going into the device manager on Windows. Here I'm running Windows 7. And in the device manager, you'll notice that there's going to be an ADB interface under the main selection of the system. And underneath the ADB interface will typically be listed the manufacturer Android Composite ADB interface. So in this case I'm going to be imaging a Samsung Moment phone, and I've got my Samsung Android Composite ADB interface. Once we've verified that we've connected correctly and we've got everything in the correct settings and configurations, we can go ahead and launch MPE, always remembering to run as administrator, especially in Windows 7 or 2008 server. And once we have MPE up, we'll go ahead and select mobile device, and we'll go ahead and select our manufacturer and our model of phone. So in this case, Samsung, and then we'll select Moment. On smart devices, there's no need to select the port because the ADB driver or specific driver for that model of phone will be used to do the communication, and the port will not be required to select. So you simply connect to the device, and it will again warn you that you need to have a forensic or blank flash card in the device for it to function properly. Once we've connected to the device, you'll notice that it gives us options as to what elements of the device we want to capture. I don't know what's on this device, so I'm going to leave all of them checked, and it'll capture whatever it can from the device and let me know after if it fails to capture any of these elements. So I'll just go ahead and extract all of those elements from the handset. If you notice on the handset, it will load a different background, and it's going to start reading the different elements and extracting those one at a time, and it will give us a progress bar for each of those items. Once the device is finished acquiring, you may get a message back saying unretrieved data. This indicates elements of the device that were not retrievable, either due to the fact that there were no SMS messages in this case, or MMS messages on the device, or the device does not allow for extraction of those elements. Once the evidence is brought into MPE, you can easily navigate around through the evidence, looking for the elements that you need for your case. You can also save the evidence files out as an AD1 image that you can then bring into FTK and further carve and evaluate. This concludes our training on how to acquire an Android device using MPE Plus with version 4.3. For any further instruction or more specific detail on using MPE, please register for one of our training classes through Access Data. I hope this has been informative, and if you ever have any questions, please feel free to contact our support team, who'd be more than happy to help you with this process.